Humanity, that name conjures up a lot. Humanity is the premier trading power of the galaxy. If you want something, the Terrans will get it to you, and their ideal X-class superfreighters are something to behold. Able to hold more than 1 billion tons of raw materials and luxury goods, with a crew full of Terrans, you were guaranteed that nothing would interfere with your cargo. Their position 25,000 light-years from the galactic core meant that they were isolated from the disputes of the galactic conglomerate, but not so far that it would take 6 months for the ship to reach its destination. Instead, it takes just under a Terran month to get to the home of the galactic conglomerate on Ployus. The Terrans said they were pacifists and would not interfere with galactic politics. This principle was tested when the Tit-Umk War started, and the Terrans traded with both sides, providing food and dihydrogen monoxide. They told the Galactic Council this was to ensure the survival of civilians. So, we had researchers investigate the Terran military doctrine and found a rich history that ended abruptly 100 years before first contact with a war they called the War to End History. We discovered they found something within themselves during that war they swore to destroy. After the war, they forged a document that the new Terran government must follow when it came to war, and on the top of that list was the protection of civilians. This word was foreign to us, as once a country has begun a war, everyone is involved in the war, and for the Terrans to say that you cannot poison the water that factory workers drink so you can slow down production was a concept genuinely foreign. However, we let them be, as why stop them from practicing their pacifist ideology? When the Terrans saw the bombing of Uma by the Tit forces, they suddenly stopped all ships transporting goods to Tit territories, and even turned around those already in transit. This act shook the Tit government, who immediately asked why the Terrans had stopped transporting vital aid. The Terrans stated they could not be complicit in the killing of civilians. The Tit were outraged at this, seeing the action as tantamount to a declaration of war. As tensions rose across the galaxy, a more sinister plot was unfolding in the shadows. The Favja Empire, long resentful of Terran economic dominance and what they perceived as naive morality, had begun sponsoring increasingly bold pirate attacks on Terran trading vessels. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Ideal X superfreighter, Magellan, overseeing final preparations for departure from Earth's orbital dockyards. As the massive ship hummed with barely contained power, Elena received a priority message from Terran Command. Admiral Chen's stern face appeared on her secure terminal. Captain Rodriguez, we're upgrading the alert status for all superfreighters in the Outer Rim sectors. Recent intelligence suggests increased pirate activity, possibly backed by certain interested parties. Elena's mind raced. Interested parties, sir? Are we talking about the Favja again? The Admiral's expression remained neutral, but Elena caught a flicker of concern in his eyes. We can't confirm anything at this point, Captain, but be on your guard. You're authorized to arm your defensive systems, but remember, we're traders, not warships. Avoid confrontation if at all possible. As the Magellan set course for the Ployus system, home of the galactic conglomerate, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that their quiet days might be coming to an end. She glanced at the small plaque mounted near her command chair, bearing the words that every Terran ship carried. May we hope that the giant of war may never awake, that after the millennia it spent chasing us, it has grown tired. May it only grumble and snore in its long sleep. We must strive to keep it within its slumber. One day it might once again walk this earth to spite us all. Little did she know how prophetic those words would soon become. 3 weeks into its journey, the Magellan found itself surrounded by 3 heavily armed ships. Captain Rodriguez's voice rang out across the bridge. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Terran superfreighter Magellan. We are a civilian vessel on a sanctioned trading mission. Your attack is unprovoked and in violation of galactic law. Stand down immediately. A gravelly voice responded, tinged with malice. Captain Rodriguez, how noble of you to announce yourself. I'm afraid we can't comply with your request. You see, we're quite hungry, and your ship's holds are very full. Nothing personal, you understand. Just business. Elena's suspicions were confirmed. This was no random pirate. This was a Favja military officer, poorly disguised. "This is your final warning," Elena replied, her voice hard. "The Terran Federation does not take kindly to attacks on its civilian ships. Stand down, or we will be forced to defend ourselves." Laughter crackled over the comm. "Defend yourselves? With what? Your pacifist ideals? Your trade agreements? Face it, Captain. You Terrans have grown soft. It's time someone reminded the galaxy of the natural order of things." As the enemy ships powered up their main weapons, Elena made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "All hands, battle stations," she said quietly. "Armory, unlock weapons cache Omega-7. Authorization Rodriguez, Alpha 97 Tango." Hidden panels throughout the Magellan slid open, revealing state-of-the-art weapon systems that put the attacking ships to shame. In a brief but intense battle, the Magellan neutralized its attackers, leaving one ship disabled but intact as evidence of the unprovoked assault. News of the battle spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Overnight, the image of Terrans as pacifist traitors was shattered, replaced by a growing fear of what humanity had been hiding all along. In an emergency session of the galactic conglomerate, chaos reigned. Ambassador Lyra Vega stood at the center of the storm, her calm exterior belying the turmoil within. As accusations and demands flew around her, she raised her hand for silence. "Representatives of the galactic conglomerate," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "For over a century, the Terran Federation has championed peace. We have traded fairly, offered aid to those in need, and refused to take sides in conflicts that did not directly threaten civilian lives." She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. "But make no mistake, our commitment to peace was a choice, not a weakness. We hoped that our example would inspire others to seek diplomatic solutions, to value life over conquest. Instead, some saw our restraint as an invitation to prey upon those we sought to protect." Ambassador Zextal of the Favja rose, his compound eyes glittering with barely contained rage. "You speak of peace, yet your ships carry weapons of immense power. You are liars and hypocrites." Lyra met his gaze steadily. "We are survivors, Ambassador. Survivors of a war so terrible that we vowed never to let it happen again. But we are not fools. We prepared for the day when we might be forced to defend ourselves and others against those who would shatter the peace we have worked so hard to build." As the arguments raged on, reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Terran ships, long thought to be simple trading vessels, were revealing hidden military capabilities. Massive fleets, previously disguised as civilian installations, emerged from the shadows of gas giants and asteroid fields in Terran space. The Favja Empire, realizing too late the gravity of their miscalculation, scrambled to mount a defense. But it was already too late. The giant of war, so long slumbering, had been awakened. In a matter of weeks, the Terran military machine rolled across Favja space, methodically dismantling their defenses and neutralizing military targets with surgical precision. True to their principles, civilian populations were left untouched, even as Favja military installations crumbled under the Terran onslaught. As the Favja leadership sued for peace, the galaxy watched in awe and fear. The Terran Federation, long dismissed as idealistic traitors, had revealed itself to be a slumbering superpower. In the final peace negotiations, Ambassador Lyra Vega addressed not just the defeated Favja but the entire galactic community. "We did not want this war. We did everything in our power to avoid it. But know this, the giant is awake, and it will not slumber again until true peace is achieved. Not a peace built on fear or dominance, but one forged through understanding, cooperation, and respect for all sentient life." As the delegates filed out of the chamber, many worlds quietly rescinded their plans for expansion or aggression. The age of dismissing Terran ideals as naive weakness was over. A new era had dawned, one where humanity's commitment to peace was backed by the most formidable military force the galaxy had ever seen. And on ships and stations across Terran space, a new plaque appeared alongside the old warning: "The giant of war has awakened, not to conquer, but to protect. May its vigil be eternal, its purpose just, its power tempered by wisdom, for in its shadow may true peace finally flourish across the stars." The galaxy would never be the same. The sleeping giant was awake, and it was here to stay.